الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله مدد محمد حسن الدستور مولانا شيخ محمد حسن طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجميع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. صدق الله العظيم. إلى
Allah Almighty commands support and help and back up each other in goodness.
İyilik yapınca herkese fayda olur.
If you perform good deeds, those good actions will be a benefit and a blessing for everyone.
Onun için iyilik yapmakta yardımcı olun birbirinize.
Therefore, support and help each other to do goodness and help each other in helping each other.
İyilik yapmak biraz insanlara kolay değil.
It may not be easy to do goodness and to help each other.
Daha zordur.
It is something that is rather difficult for the ego.
Kötülük yapmak, insanlara eziyet vermekten, herhangi bir kötülük yapmaktan birbirinize yardımcı olmayın.
And Allah Almighty forbids us and warns us that we should not support each other in doing badness, and that we should not motivate each other in doing badness, and we should not encourage each other in bad deeds.
İyilik yaparken yardımcı olun diyor.
Be supportive when somebody does something good. Support each other when it's a good cause. Support each other when it's about doing something good.
Şimdi insanlar kıskanır.
People are in general jealous.
İyilikte kıskanma yok.
But you should not be envious or jealous of the good of a person who does good things.
İyilik yaparken bir gıpta edeceksin.
If somebody does something good, then you should admire that goodness and you should not be jealous of it.
Keşke ben de yapabilsem.
If somebody does something good, you should admire that person for that goodness, and you should pray and ask Allah Almighty, if only we're also able to do all these good things that person is doing.
Hem de kuvvetim olsa yardım etsem, param olsa yardım etsem, iyilik yapsam.
One should not be jealous, but admire a person doing goodness, and should say, if I only could also do all those good things, if I had the possibilities to do so, if I had the money, if I had the means to do all those good things that person does. And that way, good people who do good things are not jealous of each other. Instead, they admire each other and thus motivate each other. When it's about goodness, there must not be any envy, and a good person is not jealous of another person who does goodness.
Onun için iyilikte muhakkak birbirinize yardım edince.
Certainly, we must support each other when it comes to doing something good, when something is for a good cause.
Hem Allah Azze ve Celle'nin emrini yerine getirmiş oluyorsunuz.
And by supporting and helping each other when it's about a good cause, then we will be fulfilling Allah Almighty's command of helping each other.
Hem fazilet oluyor, hem bereket oluyor.
And by fulfilling this command of Allah Almighty, we will be obtaining rewards and blessings, and it will be the reasons and the means for Allah Almighty's abundance to shower on us.
Kuvvet oluyor.
It will be a strength.
Sana da, Müslümanlara da.
And supporting each other in goodness will not only make us become stronger as individuals, but will also make us grow stronger as the Muslim community.
Manevi kuvvet lazım, manevi kuvvet.
It is spiritual power and spiritual strength that we need.
Yardım edene.
And spiritual power and spiritual strength is dedicated to those who do goodness and support each other in goodness.
Gelir muhakkak.
Let there be no doubt that those who do goodness and support each other in goodness will be receiving that spiritual strength.
Allah yardım ettikçe Allah da kula yardım eder.
As you support and help the servants of Allah Almighty in goodness, Allah Almighty will support and back up you.
Yok birbirlerine yardım etmeyip de şey yaparsa işte Müslümanların hali ortadadır.
And we now see the situation of the Muslims around the world in what misery they find themselves in because they do not support or help each other.
Yani birbirlerine Osmanlı'dan sonra yardım değil, devamlı gıpta değil, kıskançlık var.
After the Ottomans, there's no longer admiration among the Muslims for each other in order to support each other. Instead, Muslims are jealous of each other and Muslims do not care of each other after the Ottomans.
O yapıyor, ben yapamıyorum, ben yapmıyorsam o da yapmasın diye.
And thus, Muslims these days think, I don't want anyone else to be able to do what I do, and they also say, if I'm not able to do, then I also do not want others to be able to do what I myself cannot do.
Bir hal var Osmanlı'dan sonra.
And there is this egoistic thinking that has emerged after the Ottomans.
Bu da şeytanın işidir.
And this is one of the tricks and traps and how Shaitan has fooled people and Muslims.
Müslümanlara birbirlerine düşürmek.
And thus Shaitan achieved in making Muslims become each other's enemies.
Birbirlerini düşman etmek.
And Muslims have become each other's opponents.
Her yaptıkları şeyi nefislerine göre yapmak.
And whatever they do it based on their egoistic desires.
Nefise göre yapılan iş bir fayda etmez.
But there's no blessing and there's no utility in something that is done for the sake of the ego.
Hiçbir fayda etmez.
There's no use in something that is done for the sake of the ego.
Allah rızası için Allah yolunda olup da birbirine yardım eden.
You must support each other and help each other in a good cause for the sake of Allah Almighty.
Allah ona da yardım eder.
And if you help each other in goodness for the sake of Allah Almighty, then Allah Almighty will help and support you.
Onu bilmek lazım.
We must become aware of this.
Bu alim diyen geçinen çok insanlar var.
There are many so-called elite scholars.
Çok biliyorlar ama
They claim and they apparently know a lot of things.
Bunların akıllarından geçmiyor ki biz birbirimize yardım edelim.
But never do they think about this point that we must help and support each other.
İnsanlara yardım edelim ki
They never say we need to help each other. We need to help and support people.
Allah da bize yardım etsin diye.
They never say it is only by helping each other that Allah Almighty will help us.
Bu mühim bir noktadır ki
This is a most important point.
dediğimiz gibi sen yardım edersen en büyük yardımcı Allah Azze ve Celle'dir.
It is by helping each other that the greatest of all helpers, Allah Almighty, will help us.
Seninle beraber olur, sana yardım eder.
And it is by helping each other that the greatest helper of all, Allah Almighty, will be with us and will help us.
Yardım etmezsen o Allah Azze ve Celle de yardım etmez sana.
But if you do not help, then Allah Almighty will not help you.
Kıskançlık iyi değil.
Envy or being jealous of one's fellow Muslim brothers and sisters is not a good thing.
Dediğimiz gibi kötülüğe zarar vermeye, birbirinize yardım etmeyin. Devamlı.
And we must not support, help each other when it's about a bad cause. We must not encourage each other in badness and we must not help each other in badness.
İyilikte olun, iyilik
Instead, we must help each other in goodness.
yapmakta birbirinizden yarışın.
Encourage each other to do goodness, to race with each other and compete with each other in goodness.
Yarış güzeldir. Daha fazla vereyim, daha şey yapayım da ama kıskançlık değil. Dediğimiz gibi
Compete with each other in doing more and more goodness than the other, but there must never be envy, jealousy, or enmity among each other.
gıpta var. Gıptayla kıskançlık ters birbirine terstir.
You may admire a person who does goodness, and you may admire him, but you must never be jealous of. You must never be jealous of him. And there is a great difference between admiration and envy.
Kıskançlık o da yapmasın, ben yapamıyorsam o da yapmasın.
Envy is a vice and bad characteristic, where people think that if I'm not able to do these things, then I don't want anyone else to do it.
İki türlü gıpta dediği, ben yapamıyorum, o yapıyor, ben yapamıyorum, keşke ben de yapsam.
Admiration, on the other side, means admiring the person who does goodness and wishing for oneself that it means that taking that person who does goodness as an example and wishing for oneself to also be able to follow that example.
Ona da Allah daha fazla kuvvet versin.
Admiration means to also pray for the person who does goodness and pray for him so that he can even do more.
Daha fazla yardım etsin diye demektir. Allah hepimize bu güzel huyu, güzel yardımlaşmayı versin inşallah.
May Allah Almighty make us become aware of the importance of helping each other and make us understand what it means to help each other and become those who admire each other and support each other in goodness.
Müslümanlar birbirine yardım ederse karşılarında kimse duramaz.
If Muslims support each other and back each other up, then they cannot be defeated by anyone.
Allah yardım etsin hepimize.
May Allah Almighty support us all.
Allah tevfik el-Fatiha.